hello, and welcome back to Under the Moons. My name's Adam, and if you don't mind, I'd like to take you back to November 2006. This was the month of Casino Royale, Kelly Clarkson being relevant, devs gained access to Windows Vita, Saddam Hussein got the death sentence, and on the 17th, the PlayStation 3 released in North America for $599. Oh boy, yeah. Well, you know what, it was the end of the year, people thought, you know what, I've deserved this, so I'm gonna get myself a console. So they did, in the masses. 2 days later, when the Nintendo Wii released. Yeah, it's well known that the PS3 was a bulky boy. Let's talk about some of the games that came out for the system when it released. Blazing Angels, Squadrons of World War II, Call of Duty 3, Motorstorm, well, for us Brits anyway, Tony Hawk's Project 8, Genji, Days of Blade, Maiden, FNL 07, NBA 2K, Resistance, Fall of Man. And that's where the video will be focused. If you'd owned a PS3 back then, it was very likely that you had either played or at least knew about the Resistance trilogy, concluding in just 5 years after the first game. But if you bought a PS4 effectively skipping the last console, then it's very likely that you never knew about this game's existence. Kind of like me when I read out Tony Hawk's Project 8. I had no idea that game existed until reading it off that list just then. So, for the uninformed, let's break down this grimy 1950s shooter. Its horrible disease has crept out and changing, mutating the way people are. Humans are being taken away and killed. The masses, children watching their parents killed right in front of them, turning into these monsters. What diabolical studio could have come up with such a mean premise? Yeah, the colourful, playful Insomniac Games created this one. It's definitely the green splodge in their vibrant library. With Halo 3 on the horizon, Sony felt like they needed to respond with their own sci-fi shooter. And Insomniac had been toying with the idea of a space shooter, akin to Starship Troopers. Large-scale battles with monstrous aliens. Early concepts see this as an off-world game. But gradually, the idea to set it in 1951 alternative history, which World War II never happened, came to be. An unhuman threat emerges from Siberia and consumes Asia, Europe, the Middle East. The last stand to stop the threat comes with the advantages of the North Sea. The fight of humanity's survival takes place throughout the United Kingdom. The Chimera, the end result of an alien mutation, were originally going to be big lizards. But this was later warped into a unique, horrible, bug-looking design. We play as Nathan Hale, a US soldier who sadly has less depth than a puddle of semi-skimmed milk.
What, are you kidding me?
We trudge through this onslaught of Chimera, with the levels sadly ending with Hale getting infected by the Chimera disease. But instead of him turning into a skinny pale boy, Hale becomes a video game character who's able to collect health packs. We then enjoy set pieces like the underground labs, Chimera bases, and large open maps, and other locations like Manchester Cathedral. Yeah, Church of England weren't too happy when they found out about this. Something about guns and using the interior as a battle zone not really going down too well. Sony didn't ask for permission for the interior of the church to be used, and guns in a place of prayer was inexcusable. The game will be taken off shop shelves or we will seek legal action. End result? Well, the controversy made a notable rise in sales figures, and the cathedral's tourism numbers increased, with teenage visitors commenting that they didn't even know this place was real and really wanted to see it. Interesting situation where everybody won. The campaign can be played cooperatively. An online mode let you play as the Chimera. Glass-breaking physics were the best anyone had ever seen. All in all, a fun, entertaining experience, perfect for the first wave of PlayStation 3 games. Yeah, Resistance then went on to spawn Resistance 2 and Resistance 3. It also got 2 spin-off games, one for the PSP and one for the PS Vita. Did very well in that kind of manner. And that's where the franchise ended. Other game series birthed from the PS3 like Infamous, Uncharted, and Little Big Planet all made their way onto the PS4. Uncharted in a large way with the remaster of the PS3 trilogy. But Resistance seemed to only be this short-lived series on the PS3. Insomniac later on moved over to Sunset Overdrive and Marvel's Spider-Man. Some of their other IPs had a life after Insomniac, like Spyro, which is funny enough having a fantastic resurgence thanks to those original Insomniac games. And it's not like PlayStation owners don't want to play in the world of Resistance anymore. The Chimera and the crazy, crazy world that the games are based in are still very popular to this day. I don't think we'll ever see a new Resistance game, but I do think Resistance Fall of Man can have another day in the sun 13 years later after its release. Why not bring Resistance Fall of Man to the PSVR? And, oh, okay, yeah, I see where this is going. Yeah, well, okay, before you click off this video, at least let me explain why I think this is a good idea, because there might be a few things you don't know about the PSVR, which might change your perspective on this. First-person shooters on the PSVR are amazing. The immersion value is ranked up hugely thanks to the aim controller. What, PVC piping and a glowing tennis ball? Yeah, actually. Holding onto something in real life that kind of resembles the shape of the asset your character in-game is holding adds to the immersion factor like tenfold. Astrobot and Trover Saves the Universe are prime examples of this with the DualShock 4. Other games that use the aim controller perfectly are Farpoint, Firewall, Zero Hour, Dick Wild. I'm sure there's a few more that I am forgetting. But yeah, at the end of the day, running around with this thing shooting enemies feels fantastic. And the added benefit of having two of the Joy-Cons there really helps move around in a whole area. So you don't have to worry about not being able to turn 180 degrees with the PlayStation tracking on the PSVR. Effectively, that problem is erased with this thing. Yeah, moving around in Resistance wouldn't be a problem with the aim. Perfectly suited for games exactly like this. Resistance would also be a great addition for the library of games made up from existing titles. Yeah, other PlayStation 3 games have made their way onto the PSVR. We've got Skyrim VR, Borderlands 2 VR, Race the Sun. Okay, that last one doesn't really hold up as much as the other two, but you get the idea. It will always be a challenge porting a PS3 game not only to the PS4, but to virtual reality. But Skyrim and Borderlands 2 both prove that it can be done. The older graphics of Resistance Fall of Man would be quite a nice benefit to the PSVR. Wouldn't have to worry about crunching down the resolution too much. Now, this next part could be a bit of a problem as it originally featured in Borderlands 2, but when it came to VR, they stripped it out. Fall of Man had the whole campaign playable in co-op. Might be one of the best things you could do in VR. When I think back to my favourite times in the PSVR headset, it's usually time spent with someone else. Farpoint's co-op mode was an absolute blast, seeing someone else run beside you taking out bugs. The ability to muck around just goes through the roof.
It was a group effort. Oh,
whoa, whoa. Oh, Jeremy, no!
That was juicy.
The exact same thing happened with Downward Spiral. Main game, yeah, it's alright, a little stale, but bring player 2 in and it becomes one of the funniest VR experiences yet.
Adam.
So dumb. Other examples come from Rec Room Bowling.
Maybe not that far. If you get a strike, imagine that.
Whoop.
Oh,
damn. Oh, damn.
Oh, you literally got a strike.
Or pretending to be a sassy Picard in Star Trek Bridge Crew. Co-op mode will always make your game go beyond what you set it out to be. It changes your game from being a collective experience to a personal one, giving players unique experiences. If we want to go deeper into the VR-only controls, we can talk about the 3D rudder that's just come out. This funny-looking device frees up having to control your movement with your hands and gives it back to your feet. Early adopters are already over the moons with the freedom it provides. The aim controller does a great job when it comes to movement, but all that I'm hearing from these owners is once again it adds a new level of immersion. Yeah, more wires get in the way, and if that bothers you, well that's fine. The PSVR is a wiry haven. But to deny the added benefits a device like this could give to a game like Resistance would be naive. When I think about the PlayStation 3 category, no other game series kind of pops out to me that would fit so well into PSVR. And this game is already quite active. There's mines in the game that pop up and you have to jump or crouch down to avoid them. That would be pretty cool in VR. Travelling through the corridors of the Chimera conversion base would look amazing. The fear of heights over areas which you walk along tubes suspended over large chasms, the scale of the open areas, the models of the fantastic selection of guns, and most importantly, the look and presence of those Chimera would be something else. These bug-eyed skinny boys get nice and close to you anyway. Also, the larger scale Chimera would be terrifying. I mean, to a certain extent, they already are. Did Resistance have a long enough lifespan? Arguably it did. I mean, sales figures for the third entry were far lower than hoped. In a year filled with 3 in-game titles, it was clear Resistance wasn't the standout. Should this series just lay dormant on the PS3 though? Bring it to the PS4, and what I'm hearing probably the PS5 as well. Give it a new audience, a new context. Make it a reason people want to check out VR. Resistance, Fall of Man, VR. The perfect platform for this withered plant to bloom just one more time. But that's just this chump's idea. So, what do you think? Does Resistance deserve to come to VR? Would you play it? Would Fall of Man coming to the PSVR make you any closer to buying the device? Or do you think that the game should just reside as a relic it's become, sadly? Well, let me know below, or you can search me out on Twitter and let me know I'm there. Thank you for watching, and if you do think it is a good idea, maybe you can join me in bugging Sony and Insomniac on Twitter. I'm going to be sort of pushing it on there. I think it's a good idea, you know? I mean, I think it has legs. Share it around, try and see what other people think. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Adam, and I'll see you next time under the moons. See you later.